Come here. Get off.
Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of The Turn On. This week we are reading Stiff from Stephanie Nicole Norris, and it was published in 2020. It is a part of a series called Heavy on the D. So this is book one. So sit back, relax, get your wine, your weed, whatever you need, and enjoy.
Stiff by Stephanie Nicole Norris. I tapped appetizer sampler, biting lightly on the tip of my bottom lip with my teeth. A sound came from Kane, almost like a growl. I glanced up at him, and the danger in his gaze didn't give me the pause one would expect it should. Instead, I was further interested in what the appetizer sampler involved. I was so turned on by the thought of everything I could sample that I almost tossed the tablet. But I still had options to choose from before the games could begin. Choose your lover. The entertainer, the blind date, the gladiator. I swiped the gladiator so fast the complete list of options didn't get a chance to fill the screen. The disclaimer was the same as before, but different from the agreement Kane and I had signed before entering the elevator. It was understood then that this was a general disclaimer. In no time, in any circumstance, shall the den be liable for direct or indirect, consequential or incidental injuries as a mishap of action regarding your desires. Modifications cannot be made without written and acceptable consent between the den, the lover, and the patron. Proceeding warrants your agreement. Would you like to proceed? Yes? No? I tapped yes, and the screen went black. Then welcome was there. Kane took the tablet from my hands and motioned toward the bar. I shook my head no. I just want you, Kane. His gaze drove over me, eye fucking every inch in my body as he made it to the curves in my hips. Reaching out for my hand, Kane led me to the stage where the king-size bed that was there last week sat, almost as if it were waiting for me to return. Kane strode to the wall where the harness that had me in a ballerina position remained. Instant memories of my body plastered inside, spread wide and fucked for dear life, shook me. I was already hot, needy, ready. So when Kane returned with a black blindfold in hand, I spun around slowly and closed my eyes. The cloth was cool and I exhaled, relaxing my shoulders and preparing to be led by him. Blinded, I turned around, unzipping my dress until the fabric fell away from my body, and he snatched me into his arms, lifting me against his hard, hot body. My legs straddled his waist, and we moved what felt like 2 strides before I was on my back. His strong hands moved down my breast, fiddled my nipples, gripped my waist with fingers that clenched my thighs. Kane kissed down my inner thighs, moving my legs to his shoulders. His mouth sank into my skin. My entire body torched and I trembled, exhaling and squirming. If that was his warning, it was the only one he gave. Kane's mouth covered my pussy and held my plum and sucked my clit. Ooh, I squirmed and pleasure ripped through me. He slurped, tongued my pussy like they were my lips in a mouth-watering kiss. Oh, my, Kane. His mouth smacked against my wet flesh as if he were devouring a meal and I was on the menu. My hips rocked against the warmth that slipped from his tongue and I arched, caught in a web of spinning desire. Without my sight, every touch, taste of his tongue, and grip his hands placed on me were intensified by 1,000. My orgasm was building and I was going to come in his mouth. My hand shot down, caressed his head, my legs shaking, and a moan cruised from my lips. Oh, Kane moved and my heart was racing, my body sizzling and stimulated. Hot lips pushed against my belly, bit into my flesh, kissed up my breasts. Ooh. I hissed when that warmth covered a nipple and then the other, pushed together in his hands, his tongue licking back and forth. He sucked on me, driving up the beat of my pulse as he lapped at my areolas and bit into my breast. Ah, baby, I was shaken up under him, his massive frame dousing me in heat as he climbed, letting his mouth explore my body. Lips on my chest, pushing into my neck, biting into my throat. I shivered, quaked actually, on the verge of coming apart when he licked down my jaw up to my chin where he inhaled my mouth. Tongue diving, Kane swallowed me whole and our bodies cracked when his dick entered my pussy. Ooh. Deep diving, he stroked me hard, pressing into my pelvis as he pushed against my G-spot. I was going to come. My hands flew to his shoulders, my nails sinking into his skin. An outcry of pleasure shot from my lips as I pulled from his mouth. Into the air, my moans surrounded us and he rocked, licked my lips again, and I let him kiss me recklessly. Stretching me, bending and plunging his wild erection inside me made my blind eyes roll. With his thrust, Kane's lips found another spot on me to indulge. Deliciously, his hips moved at angles and his dick was heavy, circumference thick. Fuck, I screamed in a state of euphoria. My body vibrated on the verge of an orgasm again when Kane moved, pulling out of me and leaving me to grasp for the air. Where are you? It was basically a whimper. He flipped me over and my yelp turned into a moan when warm lips sucked at the back of my thighs. Kane bit my ass, slipped his tongue into my pussy from behind and slurped to my clitoris. The skill it took to work the tip of his wet muscle against my clit in this position had me in awe. My pearl was hard and standing at attention and I screamed, "I'm gonna come!" Again, he moved to cut me off from the pleasure ready to drop from me. I was delirious for a second, then confused. Speak to me, please. What did I do to deserve this? Kane smacked my ass, lifted my leg, and kissed up my back as he entered me from the side. My back stretched, arching, pussy thumping as he drove a long stroke inside my wet, juicy fruit. Ooh, baby. At my ear, he finally gave me an explanation. You chose appetizer sampler, which means you get a sample of everything, but you don't get to finish. I whimpered again. This was a type of torture, and I couldn't stand another second. I needed to change the narrative. So what if I told you to forget all that and fuck me until I come?
Okay, y'all. So welcome back. Kenrya, thank you for your lovely reading, your lovely rendition of Stiff. There's a lot of fucking in this book. Like, this is one of them books where they fuck a lot. So, quick synopsis. There's this chick, Asia. She runs this, like, nail salon, beauty bar, or some shit like that. And she's stressed out all the time. So, her employees / homegirls like, look, bitch, you need to go to this club and unwind. So she goes to this club. Well, you first have to like apply or something like that. It's real like.
It's like a system.
Like it's real like.
They got a system.
Yeah, they have a very sophisticated.
It's exclusive.
System. The sophisticated system is because they have niggas there to dick you down, and it's glorious. Like it just seems like. So anyway, we'll get back to this. I'm like starting to wander and wistfully think of it. Anyway, so she goes to this club. You're assigned like a protector, bodyguard type guy that kind of helps you through the rooms. And she's going through the rooms and she's like, fuck it, I want my bodyguard. So she meets her bodyguard. They fuck. Little does she know, he knows her from like outside of the world. Like they went to high school together. He was a nerd, kind of had to glow up. And then saw her and was like, oh shit. So she's fucking Kane, which is the guy in the club.
The name that she gave him, which was interesting.
Yes, Carmen.
No, the name that she gave him, right? 'Cause remember, she like was like, "Can I call you Kane?" And he was like,
"Oh yeah." Okay, back. We'll
get there.
rewind for all that. So she's fucking Kane, and then her friend Eric from school drops out of nowhere, comes to her shop. They strike up a relationship. They're dating, but she's still fucking Kane. And yeah, hijinks ensue.
Mm-hmm. That they do.
So, few things. One, let's start with the ugly and then get to the fun.
Okay.
So, the ugly in this, I think, is that like deception is never cool, right?
And there's a lot of deception happening here.
Yes, on pretty much on his end, right?
Yeah, I mean, she's only thing that she's doing is using a name that's not hers, but that's for her protection, not for anyone's deception.
And it's understood that like
that's
never
what you do.
Your name going to this club. So yeah, there's deception on his end. So for the purposes of this conversation, we're going to suspend all ideas. I mean, because I think Stephanie, like for the purposes of the book, suspends all like notions that this is kind of creepy. It's not the right thing to do, but it sets up for a great story. So,
it does, but I think there's something interesting there, right? Like, have you ever experienced, like, we all been with liars, right? And we've all been with people who present, well, not all, I know I have. Let me speak for myself with this long history of narcissists, right? Like, people who create a version of themselves that is not who they are. And like, you know, my therapist even like calls it like wearing a mask, right? Like, that's where this whole 90-day thing comes, not for fucking, but for like just letting somebody really into your life. Exactly. Because usually you can only hold the mask up but for so long. And although he does not have nefarious aims, it does make me think about the ways that people present their representative as opposed to who they really are and how manipulative that is. Right? This is not just every time I see this nigga, I got, you know, cleavage down to here and whatever because I'm trying to, you know, present this as opposed to the fact that you wear your bonnet. You know what I'm saying?
At the base of a lie is manipulation.
Right.
Like, I am lying because I want this particular
outcome.
result.
Right. Yeah. And I'm okay with not giving you all the information that you need in order to be able to make an educated decision about how you want to handle it. And like, that's the fucked up part, right?
Yeah. So it's interesting. I'm on the apps again. Mm-hmm. Fucking shoot me. And not that I don't, but here's the thing. I don't mind being on the apps because I actually do meet interesting people, cool people. I'm really good at like
separating the wicks from the chaff.
Yeah, like the wicks from the chaff. Yep. I separate the wicks from the chaff.
I was trying to say we, also then dropped my water bottle. So
I literally heard it drop. Okay. So so I think, and one of the things that I'm realizing, one is that like, again, I am so much more charming a person than I am on an app. If you pass by me on an app, motherfucker, you're missing out because I look like a dud on the app in person.
Do you really think so?
I think that, I'm a dud on an app.
Why?
It takes for like that spark in order for our chatting and stuff to be good. You know, like sometimes it's really dry. And then like you might happen to say something or I might happen to say something and then we tumble into a really good conversation. But I feel like there are probably people like my inbox, there's probably like 4 niggas sitting in the inbox that it was like, how are you? How's your day? My day was good. But it never really tumbled into anything. They don't have a lot of
I'm about to say, don't put that on yourself because niggas be boring.
But I mean, I feel like they're probably like, I feel like some of these guys, if I met like out in a bar,
you'd have more chemistry.
You know, it'll probably be different. Exactly.
Gotcha.
So anyway, So I met this guy on the app, and he was just like a little too much too soon. And I was just like, are you, I feel like one, had I gone too far, this nigga, I would have been on Catfish, right? Like, because I don't even think he was using I don't think he was using his real name. Because, my black ass.
You hit them Googles.
I hit them Googles hard. And the way that he was describing himself, I'm like, nigga, you would have been on the Googles, right? And then like some of the stuff was just too buzzwordy, like, oh, I live here in a very like upscale part of town. But like if you do a good Google search on the DC area, you would know that like, oh, I live in Chinatown, when everybody know it's expensive as fuck to live in Chinatown. So it was just a little too, but my spidey senses were off. And it made me think like, dog, like, you just be out here lying like a motherfucker. Like, and maybe it'll work for somebody. Maybe, like it'll go well. But like,
why are you lying?
Like, why you gotta lie? Because I don't want someone that's gonna fall in love with like fake Eric.
Right. I
want someone that's going to fall in love with me.
Yeah, because fake Eric don't last that long.
Fake Eric, girl, I can't even act like I fucking care about a conversation too long, let alone like feign being somebody else for a whole fucking like relationship.
That sounds exhausting.
And if I trick you into like marrying you, then I gotta maintain that shit forever.
No, thank you.
Either that or this nigga find out the truth and then he's like resentful, So
yeah, that's real shit. Yeah, but narcissists don't think that way, right? The fun is in the recreation and the getting people to believe the bullshit. And then I think there are people who just lie who maybe aren't narcissists who just like to lie. Nigga, I don't know. I ain't never been that person. Yeah, it's hard for me to lie because I be looking stupid like, yeah. It's so funny. I can't even tell this nigga that I'm okay when I'm not. He'd be like,
you're like, okay, I lied. Yeah, it was just very interesting because this nigga maybe he is all this in a bag of chips. I'll give you details when we get off so you can.
Your gut is your gut.
But yeah, like I was, and okay, also, black folks, the network is deep, right? Like you drop one thing and I'm like, oh, right? I can always.
You can think of like 2 or 3 people you can check through to make sure, especially here.
And so he said that he was a particular frat from a particular
school.
Nigga,
that's too easy.
And I know someone that is from that particular frat, not from that school, but his sands in the same, the same city. Not about to say neighborhood, in the same city. So I checked in with him. And mind you, the person I checked in with is my homie, my man, 100 grand. But this nigga So, and I was like, I don't know. He was like, trust your gut. And I was like, see, this grimy motherfucker knows. But yeah, and so I asked him about this person. He was like, I think the entire frat had a moratorium that year.
Which is why he picked that year, motherfucker.
Exactly. But my homeboy, he himself was like, I know people that were online that like were pledging that
but year. They didn't.
And then when and they didn't cross, so they still used that year. He was like, but I know them niggas that like from this city that were doing that and that wouldn't. So anyway, like we have one friend, a good friend, and I call her the FBI because this bitch, you could just. His name is Joe, and like the most like vanilla name. She was like, you can be like, his name is Joe, and he's from New York City, and this bitch would have like which one is this? And she'll have like 3 of them. And be like, is it this one? Is it this one? Is it this one? And I'm just like, I love you so much. But yeah, I definitely, and I don't really do, I try not to Google people until I hit the point where I'm like, this seems serious. Right?
I Google once
Also,
we've had a call and the call goes well.
Yeah, I mean, I try not to, because there's this balance with Google.
You don't want
right?
to find out too much. Exactly.
Exactly. And sometimes you Google a nigga and then you see like pictures from his like Johnson family reunion, right? And it's like, I don't want to know that because then I'm going to meet Aunt Bertha and be like, Aunt Bertha, bitch, you look good. And then it's like,
relax,
how the fuck did you know
yeah.
that? But I also want to, I actually, more than anything, I use Google to confirm what has been told to me, to check to see if you're a liar. I don't because to me there's not much else I could get out of Google.
Yeah, for most people, unless you're like a super public person, that's true. And with my current partner, I didn't Google him until after our first, like literally we finished our first conversation, and then I was like, all right. And it was like confirming things that we talked about. It was real quick. I found his website very quickly, and he was like exactly who he said he was. He looked like he looked on the app, and I was like, all right. And now that was the end.
Might have used a picture from the app from the website for the app.
Yes, he did. And then I was like, okay, he is who he says he is, and then that was enough.
Too much, because I don't want to have too much background, but I do want to confirm that what's been said is true. And with this particular person, he was just doing too much, throwing too much out there way too soon. And I was like, look, either this bitch, meaning me, has hit the fucking jackpot, or there's something wrong with this motherfucker. And I could hit a jackpot, but something's wrong with this motherfucker. So
just more like, another reminder that we have to trust our guts. They always tell us right.
All that to say, dear Stephanie, this is not to disparage your book or anything. It was just
the conceit, right? Piece. And you had to be like, okay, this is what he's doing. Either we gonna be okay because he fine as fuck, and
that dick, I was like, let me get some of that dick. Girl, that man was fucking his ass off.
And then you find, because of who you find out that he's a good guy, right? In all other aspects of whatever. So it's easy, I guess, to suspend that for the purposes of the book, as you were saying. Yeah.
Okay, so first, let's talk about this sex club. I need one of them.
It was like, it made me think about.
It was a woman's dream.
Right, which is not the case.
You can tell a woman came, I'm doing this. A woman came up with this shit in her head. Like, it was perfect.
Right. And as people who have, like, both of us have been to clubs, they ain't like that. Not even a little bit.
Smell good. The niggas smell good. Like, they smell good. I went to a sex club. These motherfuckers had crab dip.
Was that the place where everybody brought something?
Most sex clubs are BYOB. But this one, like, they were like, yeah, Joanne makes a really good crab dip. And I mean, like, niggas was fucking up that crab dip. And if we were any place else, like, if we were at a baby shower, I would have been fucking up the crab dip because I love me a good crab dip. But I don't want to smell seafood and or eat creamy dairy products before I'm, like, getting it out.
Yeah, it's reasonable.
Yeah, but anyway, I'm sorry. Because it's like you were in a club and you stand too close to the bar. You're like, I said, damn. And you see like a crock pot. Niggas like,
the one we went to didn't even have that. They actually had a bar. It wasn't BYOB.
They had old white bitches squirting.
Oh, God. It was such a weird, for those of you who haven't heard that episode, go back. Yeah, story time. Woo, Lord.
Story time. Sex club.
Swingers clubs, I think we called it.
Sex club. Story time sex club. Something like that. Okay, so let's explain the sex club to everybody. First, you go and you like set up a profile and you don't use your, like, they know your name, I guess, for like billing purposes or something.
But you get to pick like an alias.
And they're like, okay, this is the last time you're going to know that name when you go through these doors. And so she picked a name, Carmen, right? So you go through the doors, and then they're like, this big black man, and well, I don't know if they all black, but this big black man in this loincloth is yours to take you around this motherfucker. And they hand you a goddamn iPad. Do they hand you an iPad, or do you get an iPad when you get to the room?
When you meet your person, they give you, they give you the little, device.
And the motherfucking iPad, like, you go to one room, it's like the zoo room. Boop, press it, and there's a motherfucker with a 10-foot long dick swinging around behind bars. Okay, maybe not 10 feet. Maybe. Yes. But you get what I'm saying. Like, so you go to these different rooms, and it's literally like niggas in a cage.
Yeah.
I want that. So then you say, I want that. And they're like, okay, well, what package do you want? Do you want the
Kama Sutra,
do you want me to
surprise appetizer platter? There's like all these different
each, like it was just this bitch is walking her, he's shitting, and she didn't even pick up the
is it NRR?
Gross. I would have opened up the window. Okay. Anyway, so you get your selection of what gets done, and then you just go at it.
Well, kinda, right? So they are your entertainment. They do. So they are there to entertain you, and you pay a flat fee whether you get.
I was so excited about sex. I forgot.
You pay a flat fee, so it doesn't. You're not paying more like to have sex. You just pay for the experience, and so they are dancing for you. Like you can pick from predetermined playlists. Like you can play.
Tonight I wanna dance for you. Oh. Work your body,
what's those words? Okay. Wow. But so they start with the entertainment, but then they get to choose. They get to initiate touch. So if they touch you, then it's on and popping. If they don't, then you don't get to push them to do anything that they're not interested in doing. And your guide is with you your security is like with you the whole time to like meet your needs. So if you order a drink on the pad, they go when they make the drink. They're watching you to make sure you're okay. If somebody does make a move on you and you're not interested, they shut that shit down. Yeah.
I need somebody to come up with this.
It's so dope. And at
the end of the day, yes, it's prostitution. It's sex work. Is prostitution a derogatory term?
No, not necessarily. I just think that the language has evolved to sex work. Yeah.
And I love it. Like, let people pay for what the fuck they want.
Yeah.
Right?
And this is in a safe environment. It keeps the workers safe. Everybody's got, protection, and everybody has autonomy in the situation. And I also love the role that tech plays in this situation, right? Like, Asia is very, buttoned up. At least that's like what she presents to people. And so the idea of her, like first of all, she was freaking out about going. The fact that she went by herself, I'm like, why didn't she go with her girls? Like,
I don't think it's the go with your girls kind of experience.
I mean, I don't know.
I would go by myself. Well, I'm a whore, so.
I mean, I just felt
I'd be like, can I get two guys?
Like how her friends were like call her before she went in and was like, you sit in your car and you take your ass in there or whatever. Like go and diverge and then meet back up at the end. And then like, I don't know. It just felt like she needed a friend. Right.
Yeah. Go to Waffle
but
House,
like the fact that the tech made it easy to go through the process without having to necessarily vocalize what you needed. It made it easier to come out of herself because she could just press it on an iPad instead of having to say it.
Shit like this in Amsterdam.
That would be fucking dope.
But I doubt they have like rooms of big black
niggas. With gold foil packets. Which was nice that, Stephanie made it quite clear that this sex was safe. Yeah.
This is for the niggas, strictly for the niggas.
That too.
Have you seen that TikTok? it's like a TikTok sound. This is for the niggas, strictly for the niggas. And so then it would be like, you know, black girl riding down the street and some white man hollers. And then she looks and it's like, this is for the niggas, strictly for the niggas. And there was this one, I've like stumbled on ain't shit lesbian TikTok. I love it.
I know every week you're like in the new.
I know, because I have an ain't shit lesbian friend, and it was
yes,
like,
you do.
so there was this chick, and she needed like a refrigerator moved, and she looked at her girlfriend, and her girlfriend was like, "This is for the niggas, strictly for the niggas. This is for the niggas, the real niggas." I was like,
You ain't shit.
yeah, you ain't shit. I love it. Okay, yeah, but all that to say, this sex club was fucking amazing. I think that it was dope. And I think, like you said, the role that the tech played in it, I think that the tech being able to deliver anonymity.
I think you had it right there.
Anonymity. Okay. Being able to provide covertness, stealth. I think that would totally make it more acceptable. Because think about OnlyFans. Everybody and their mama want an OnlyFans. Why? Because you can be anonymous, right? Everybody and mama want.
Yeah, and folks want to be able to do what they want to do without having to worry about what they perceive as stigma. So, you know, Asia was very much like, I got this business. I don't want nobody to see me. That kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess.
Okay, sounded like a fucking dream. So Eric fucking glowed up after high school to become Kane. Like, he did the complete glow up. And I think we touched on this a little bit. We talked about the shiny niggas in college versus, I ain't even gonna say the ashy niggas, just the niggas that wasn't out there shining, right? I say all the time to the young girls, just
pay attention.
Pay attention. Because if a nigga just look a little fuzzy because he got a bad haircut, he just might not.
He might not have the money. He might not have the time.
Yeah, it could be a million reasons. But you got to.
Some of them still ashy.
In the rough. Some of them niggas still ashy. But I mean, you know, I think about like the guys that we went to college with that I'm think that like have done a glow up. I don't even think it was really a glow up. It was just like, wasn't nobody paying attention to you, you know, because you were just kind of quiet. You wasn't a shiny nigga. You wasn't a nigga that was like, everybody look at me. So yeah, Eric did that and turned into just a fine motherfucker. And wasn't it like he like got in touch with his dad, or him and his dad rekindled their relationship, and so then, you know, he learned how to put on some cologne and keep a fresh shape up.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we all, I know I definitely, I think I have grown up definitely from fucking high school, bro.
Oh, I was a mess in high school.
My hair was,
I was a mess in high school.
It was a lot.
And in college, I was just quiet, you know? Was I quiet? I think I was generally quiet.
Sure, but not by the end.
Like, yeah, but like, yeah. And that's the thing. It's before, because right now I don't give a fuck. But like before, I could be perceived as quiet because I was unsure of the situation. I didn't, you know, like I was still trying to figure out how to play it. You know, the codependent / high anxiety / OCD person in me is like, well, I ain't trying to fuck up or, you know, like embarrass myself, that kind of thing. So I was quiet. Because I even think about when we first pledged our sorority, I was quiet, like among older sorors. They were like, oh, Erica's so quiet. And the alliances is like, this bitch? It's because I had to figure out what was going on.
Yeah, same. I mean, I think that there are still people who perceive me as being quiet.
I get a call, text, DM at least every 2 to 3 months, like, Kenrya? And I'm like, Kenrya's my best friend. Like, you see me and her together. Do you really think that I'm gonna be like besties?
Somebody who don't say nothing?
Birds of a feather. Caw-caw!
Well, the reality is, like, all of those things that you said have always, like, been my issues, right? The anxiety, the being hyper worried about how people would perceive me, and not being super confident when I was younger, and not feeling like I wanted to contribute to conversations. And then now a lot of it is like, I just don't give a fuck. So
yeah, and I was about to say, like, you don't contribute to conversations. Like, this some bullshit. I ain't trying to, like, I have truly entered I'm not explaining shit phase. And I kind of have to weigh it out because, I mean, we talked about this a little bit, but like, I try to weigh it out because I'm like, somebody needs to be teaching so that niggas can learn, right?
That ain't gotta be.
But yeah, it's like,
girl, you know, I get up, I walk out of room, I turn up some music. I just don't care because I'm just no longer interested in engaging in conversations that I don't want to. And I'm not interested in arguing with folks with whom I'm not going to see eye to eye. I'm not interested in trying to convince people to be in community or give a fuck about other people or any of these things that feel deeply important to me. And so I just don't.
And that's the thing. Like, I don't want to, like, yeah, I'm firmly in I ain't explaining myself. Either you get me or you don't.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to, like, I don't need you to teach me something. I will learn it when I want to learn it, how I want to learn it. And then it makes me wonder, well, damn, am I closed-minded? Because I talk about niggas that be like, them niggas ain't willing to learn nothing.
But I don't.
It's me. I'm niggas.
But I don't think that's true. Like, I think about even like both of us, like the evolution, like when we were, you know, doing those double dippings, and we were talking about like the ways that we use language and how they've evolved over the course of the show, and how we've been able to like break through the binary. Like, all of that to me is learning and growing.
Like, if somebody comes and be like, "Ooh, we got Eric on tape being a bitch or being a dick or saying something fucked up," okay, I've learned. Like, I cannot say that I've always been amazing. I'm thinking about like somebody having a video of me like, "What, I hate him." But yeah, like, I can't say that I've been perfect. No one can.
And especially when
all I can say is that I'm learning and I'm open to learning. And I remember I saw this tweet, and this guy, he was really like, you could tell he was super upset. This person, I ain't gonna say a guy. I don't even remember what the person looked like, but I know that I don't know if they were trans or something, but it was a tweet talking about pronouns. And they were like, I hate it when people use pronouns that's like, you know, she, her, yo mama bad bitch, you know, shit like that. Cause they're like, to me, it feels like you're making fun of it.
Yeah, I actually don't really like that either. But I also very much respect people's autonomy to decide how they want to be called.
Decisions. Exactly. Yeah. And so reading that, I was like, yo, that's fucked up. Cause I totally did. I've done it before, but I also like feel like it's a privilege for me to be able to do shit like that and make light of it. And so I'm like, for that reason, it's always Erica, she, her, hers. Like, yes, I am a bad bitch. You can call me a queen, but I'm not going to do that because it's making light of other people's, you know, inability to do that and it be a ha 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 type thing. So bitches change and grow and learn, but I'm gonna learn from motherfuckers. Like, I'm not gonna have some rando nigga try to school me on femininity, you know, like, you bitches should be wearing skirts. No, I'm not. It's not gonna happen. Yeah, right? No. So yeah. I don't even know how we got here. We're just having a hot flash. But yeah, I don't know how we got here, but whatever. Okay. So Asia had two friends. She had a few friends, but she had two friends that were like she had three friends, but so she had a girlfriend named Patience who was getting a divorce. And she sat down and talked to all her girlfriends. It was like, look, you know, most women have this conversation if they're getting a divorce. You sit down with your girlfriend. Some of them be like, bitch, I knew. Some of them got the phone call the minute you're like going through it like, bitch. But then other girlfriends, you got to sit down and have to like, me and so are divorcing call, right? And so Patience had that sit down with Asia and Brandy. No, sorry. Brandy is the one going through the divorce.
Damn, what's the other? It's Brandy, Patience, and then obviously Asia, and then Nicole is the other friend that's not quite.
Nicole was the one that put
onto
her
the club.
onto the. Yeah, exactly. So, so Brandy's going through the divorce, and they were, you know, and of course the question is why, you know, which again, people that haven't gone through divorces ask why. Niggas that have gone through divorces, you be like, girl,
congratulations.
It's too many to list.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, I feel like you never divorce for one reason.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe some people
but
do.
most of the time it's an accumulation of things. Reason. Yeah.
Exactly. Because it's, you know, it's a big decision. So then Brandy's like, yo, I had a miscarriage, to which her girlfriend was like, oh, so sad. And then she says, this isn't like an integral part of the story, so I'm just going to tell it. And then she's like, well, after the miscarriage, my husband was sad, so I gave him a threesome. So I hate when people give threesomes as like a gift.
Yeah.
Because to me, it's kind of one of them things where it's like, it needs to be something that we are enthusiastic consent, right? I don't want it to be like a, here you go. You know?
Right. What's the point of that?
Because, I want it to be one of those like, I can't wait for my husband, my partner to watch me get my back blown out. And my partner can't wait to see it happen too. You know, it just don't, it don't feel right to me.
I'm with you. I'm also wondering, how often do you think that people do that as an excuse to indulge in something that they want to do, but that they don't want to admit that they want to do, and so it's easier to put it on their partner?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure that's much less common.
But I do think that happens. Like, remember the guy that
especially because female identified people, right?
Like, you just like it, so I'll let you do it. Don't no grown ass man do that because he want me to let him.
Just because.
And
right.
he wasn't a beginner.
Yeah.
But anyway. Yeah. So I totally think that is possible. Enthusiastic consent. I was trying to make this a whole like long situation for us to talk about.
But no, and like own your pleasure. Yeah. Right? Like if stand in what it is that you want.
Exactly. And
I don't want to feel like I'm coerced into something or coercing someone else into something. Like, that's not sexy.
I think that there are differences between hard and soft limits, right? So hard limits are, ain't no fucking way, get that shit away from me. Fuck no. Soft limits are, I don't think I want to do it, but I'd be open to learning more, trying, let's experiment. But if a bitch is like, fuck no, then fuck no, right?
Shut it down. Yeah.
So I think for some people, threesomes are soft limits.
And
that's more of a exploratory, okay, let's try it out. Or we're going to do it around his birthday or on his birthday or on their birthday. I'm sorry. I still have this very binary speech and I'm trying to work on it. So sorry, y'all.
Learning.
We'll try it out type thing, but like I'm I'm gonna give it to them because they want it. Like, what about you? Where do
What
you
do you
sit in
want?
that?
Yeah.
You know, because if something go wrong, I shouldn't have did it. You know. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have any more thoughts about threesomes?
No, I've never done one. It used to be on my list of things I wanted to do. This is gonna sound terrible, maybe, but it's true. I really feel like it was something that I should have done when I was with somebody who I didn't really give a fuck about.
Because now you're like, bitch, get off of him.
Yeah, like I just and that's my own insecurity. That's my own unwillingness to fucking share. It's,
no, everybody got their thing, like, and it's totally fine, right?
Yeah,
like it's just not my jam.
But yeah. It was an experience that I wish I'd had when I was younger and just kind of out here. And honestly, I mean, I would have done either way, but I think the thing that was the stuff of fantasies when I was younger was more so two men. Which is hard to find
a partner that's
willing men to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I got a few. Okay, so I actually had therapy this morning, and we were talking about that because I haven't, I've graduated.
I know. That's why I said earlier, I said my therapist, because you're no longer going.
My graduation cap. So I had therapy, and so we were doing just a general checkup. How's everything going? Because I had like big issues. I felt so bad because we got on and I was like dumping, like, and then she was like, okay, so how are you doing? And so then we were talking about dating, and I told her, like, I'm in a place where I want a partner, but it doesn't necessarily have to be traditional. And she was like, so does that mean you're ready for an open relationship? And I was like, I don't think I want an open relationship, but I'm comfortable with the level of like swinging / fucking other people on the outside, if we agree upon it. And it's a mutual thing. Because don't be mad when I'm like, put nice down there. He like, what happened?
Yeah.
But yeah. So, and yeah, that made me think like, maybe things would change, or I'd feel different if I was like really feeling somebody. But right now it's just fucking.
Yeah. Hey, I like it.
I like that. Okay. So Asia has her crew. Kane has his crew. But then they get together and there's like crew love. And to me, that is every girl's dream. Like, it's every girl's dream to me, because I'm like, I love my friends so much. It would be perfect if my boyfriend loves his friends, and then they got together with my friends. We were all just friends in one family. And we actually have friends that are like that. Which I think is great, because then like they get to see their kids grow up with, like I think that's just beautiful. I just think that's beautiful. So I was like,
it is very cute.
A girl's dream, a person's dream, right? You're like, I don't give a fuck.
Yes. No, it's not that I don't give a fuck. I think it's cute. I also know that it's not like a deal breaker to me, right? Like, my partner is always down to be around, but he not a like sit around with niggas all day.
I was about to say some shit that's gonna get him in trouble, me in trouble, all of us in trouble. But anyway, continue.
And he's also not he don't want to be fixed up with my friends, like,
he don't need the
partners.
Dates. Like, no.
Yeah, he's like, no, I'm okay. But he is like, okay, we can all go hang out together, and it works well. I get it, and I don't push it. Because that's just not what he's interested in. And that's okay, because he still comes around when I want him to come around.
Okay. So that's all I've got. You got anything else to add?
No. I enjoyed this. She went to Howard, didn't she?
Yes,
Asia?
I literally have it highlighted.
Did I make that up?
It's
Okay.
like Howard University, and like I highlighted and wrote,
So that was cute. No, I thought it was a really good book. The sex scenes are great. There are a lot of them. Get into it.
Yeah. So, okay.
Yeah,
well,
it
we're
was
going
dope.
to take a break and we'll be back with
That's right. What's turning us on? Right? Is that what's called?
Hey y'all, today's a great day to start your own podcast. Whether you're looking for a new marketing channel, have a message you want to share with the world, or just think it'd be fun to have your own show like us, podcasting is an easy, inexpensive, and fun way to expand your reach online. And Buzzsprout is hands down the easiest and best way to launch, promote, and track your podcast. Your show gets put online and listed in all the major podcast directories like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, literally everything, within minutes of finishing and uploading your recording. We use it here for the Turn On, and I can truly attest to the fact that it's pretty fucking dope. Podcasting isn't hard when you have the right partners, and the team at Buzzsprout is passionate about helping you succeed. So join over 100,000 podcasters like us who are already using Buzzsprout to get their message out to the world. Just click the link in our show notes and you'll be able to get your own account set up. And if you sign up for a paid plan, you'll get a $20 Amazon gift card and support our show. Let's create something great together. Sign up for Buzzsprout today.
Okay, y'all. So we're back with.
Oh. What's turning?
Sleep. You sleep. Sleep at the wheel.
I might have been. Listen, I'm so fucking tired. What's turning us on?
Okay, so girl, my foot stuff. I gotta figure out what I'm doing with my hair. Okay, so this week, what is turning me on? I think we mentioned this in our 12 days of Christmas situation, where we were highlighting things that you could use for Christmas, buy for Christmas, sell for Christmas. I don't know, Christmas shit, gifts. So I found this website. Oh, y'all see. So I found this website. It's called Enby, E-N-B-Y. ShopEnby.com is the website. I think we'll include all the links. And Enby sells, among other things, they sell sex toys. And most of their sex toys, not all, well, they have a number of sex toys that are for genderqueer, non-binary, transitioning folks. So a lot of their stuff isn't necessarily like a dildo, because some people have body dysmorphia and don't want a dildo near them. They do sell dildos, good ones are bad, but they really
and really good straps and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, like just think outside of the box, or like people that are, because we don't think about it. We think about like people going through transitions, like. I'm probably using the wrong words, but like gender confirmation transitions. And I didn't think about it till I went to Enby, but you think about it like one day you're one way, the next day you're not. No, there's a whole like life you got to live in between that. And you probably get horny and want something to happen. So they have products for people that are in the process of, like, their nibbly bits being changed. And so it's like, it's not, like it ain't a dildo, but it ain't a potty pussy, that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So this thing that I found, I love it. So it is called, I don't know. It looks like it looks like an ice cream.
It's like an ice cream cone. Yeah.
So look.
You ran a battery down when you were showing it to me last night.
Okay. So it rotates. So it's a little rotator. But the great thing about this is that these little like ice cream swirls are super soft and super flexible.
Mm.
So I find it great to stimulate my clit with some.
But you could use that in a lot of
on.
different places.
Yeah, but you can also use it on nipples. I've been really big into pleasure mapping lately. So like you can just, like play with it on different parts of your body and see what feels good. Gooch, maybe. I'm so excited about learning about a gooch. Months later, I'm still into gooches. I cannot wait to have sex with this so that my partner can be fucking me and using that on my clit as I get inside stimulation. So, this is adorable. It's cute. I say buy it. It'll make you happy. It made me happy.
Yay.
And
I love it.
That's what's turning me on.
I think I might end up getting one of those too.
Yeah, I'll send you the link. I'll send everyone the link.
Everyone,
in our
yeah.
show notes. Okay, so yeah. Hallelujah, holla back. Holla back, hallelujah. My sister would say that.
Lord have
hallelujah,
mercy.
holla back. Erica Killer 2 hoes. Making it clap.
Bye.
This episode was produced by us, Kenrya and Erica, and edited by Ballistic. The theme music is from Brazy. Hit subscribe right now in your favorite podcast app and at youtube.com/The Turn On Podcast so you'll never miss an episode.
Then follow us on Twitter at The Turn On Pod and Instagram at The Turn On Podcast. And you can find links to books, transcripts, guest info, what's turning us on, and other fun stuff at theturnonpodcast.com.
And don't forget to email us at theturnonpodcast@gmail.com with your book recommendations and your pressing sex and related questions.
And you can support the show by leaving us a 5-star review, buying some merch, or becoming a patron of the show. Just head to theturnonpodcast.com to make that happen.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you soon. Holla.